Yesterday, they destroyed an ice cream factory. Barbaric is the siege that has been imposed on Gaza since 2005 and the fencing off of Gaza since 1995. Barbaric is that the objective of this siege is deliberately to destroy the economy of Palestinians in Gaza, to cripple them, to break them. That, Mr. Obama, is barbarism. Mr. Obama, is what is coming out of Israel right now, which is open calls for the genocide of Palestinians in Gaza. This is what is written in Israeli newspapers. That is what is called by the current Deputy Prime Minister, who calls for that against the Palestinians in Gaza. But none of this is new for us Palestinians. We have seen it before. We have seen it before. We are not surprised. I wish we were. But none of the things that have happened against us in Gaza, or in Ramallah, or in Quds are new. Barbaric, Mr. Obama, is Zionism. Zionism, which stated just what Golda Meir said, Israel's fourth prime minister, that there is no such thing as Palestinian people. Barbaric is to deny our identity and to deny our existence. Barbaric is what Menachem Begin said in 1969 when he called Palestinians beasts walking on two legs. Barbaric is what historian Benny Morris says, a historian who recognizes that every single Israeli village and Israeli town is built on Palestinian villages and Palestinian towns, and yet he justifies this genocide and his ethnic cleansing, and he recently called for the ethnic cleansing of Palestinians in Gaza. That is barbaric. Barbaric is what the Israeli offensive forces are calling for. And they have said very specifically that officers have been given legal advice that allows them, and I quote, to target large numbers of civilian casualties. And this statement was not released in 2014. This statement was from 2009. From 2009. Barbaric is what Netanyahu says when he says, we must hit them, not just one blow, but blows that are so painful that the price will be too heavy to borne. And he said that in 2012. That is barbaric. Barbaric is when they asked Netanyahu, what would you say when we destroy their villages? Netanyahu said, the world won't say a thing. The world will say we are defending ourselves. President Obama has said, and I quote, innocent civilians are caught in the crossfire here to weigh on our conscience. We have to do more. Well, I appeal to you, Mr. Obama, don't do more. Please, Mr. Obama, don't do more, because when he does more, he gives more weapons, and he gives millions of our money to the Israeli war machine. No, Mr. Obama, if this is how the death of our families weighs on your conscience, then please, don't do more. Recognize that the crimes against the Palestinians in Gaza over the past 27 days are not new. The crimes against the Palestinians in Gaza since the siege on Gaza in 2005 are not new. They began in 1948. We need to recognize what barbaric is. Barbaric is racism. Barbaric is defining Palestinians as a demographic threat. And therefore considering that Palestinian existence is a threat to Israeli survival. Our existence is a threat to their survival, which means that the mere fact that we exist is justification for them to kill us. That is barbaric, that is racism, and that is Zionism, and that is what we must end. We are here together to say we demand an arms embargo on the state of Israel. We demand an arms embargo on the state of Israel. We are here to say we demand the International Criminal Court and the International Court of Justice take the Israeli war criminals to justice for the crime of genocide. We demand an end to the occupation, and we demand an end to racism. We stand with the foreign minister of Finland who said sanctions against Israel must be on the table. We stand with the governments of Latin America, from Ecuador to El Salvador, Evo Morales, who said Israel is a terrorist state. And I have to say this. We not only stand with Palestinian families, with their women and their children, but we have to stand with Palestinian resistance. That an occupied population has the right to defend itself, which is what an occupied population has the right to do, then we stand with the Palestinian resistance. We stand with the Palestinian resistance.
Yes!
And if we are opposed to racism against Palestinians, then we need to be opposed to racism against anyone, anywhere. Which is, Mr. Obama, we are opposed to your drone warfare.
Yes!
Opposed to your drone
Must
warfare.
stop!
Mr. Obama, we are opposed to your immigrant policy
Yes.
that separates families.
Yes.
And elsewhere in the United States, we are opposed to discrimination against African Americans, and Latino Americans, and all other people of color. We say this as Palestinians. We say this as human rights activists. An end to the privatization of prisons in this country. An end to the drone warfare. An end to everything that is barbaric. That is what we say. And we make a pledge. We make a pledge right here today in the name of the Palestinians, who are the most resilient people I have ever known, who are standing and have been standing since 1948. We pledge to them that when the bombs end, and they will end, we will remember our anger today. We will remember our tears today. And we will not be broken.
No!
So long as Palestinians are surviving, and they are surviving, so long as they are resilient, and by God, we are resilient, we will not be broken, and we will organize. That means each of you here is to make a pledge to stand and to be organized in support of the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement. Make it your personal pledge to be organized in Dallas, in Houston, in Austin, wherever you come from in Texas, to support divesting your institutions from the state of Israel, and make a pledge to harass your local papers until they break the narrative that Israel is the victim and Palestinians are the oppressor. We need to break that narrative. Make that pledge today to stand together against racism, against occupation, against apartheid, and to remind Mr. Obama what a barbaric action actually is. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rania. If you guys... Allahu Akbar. Thank you so much, Dr. Rania. That was so amazing. If you guys could just give her another round. And BDS is going down in San Antonio too, inshallah. Our next speaker is Snehal. He is one of the organizers for this event. He's also an English teacher here at UT. He's also the person who started the SJP at the University of Texas at Austin. And here's Snehal.